big lead. So, and before I want to dive into this, I just want to open with just a word of prayer here. God, we come before you just in awe of just who you are. God, you deserve all our worship, all our praise. What more can we be? What else can we go except at the foot of the cross? Just worshiping you. And that is where we find peace. We find who we are in you. God, I just pray that you may anoint the beats balls. And just, God, just share what they're going on in Bangladesh, and just we may be amazed by it, which is all the more reason to praise you and worship you this morning. In Jesus' name. Morning, guys.
Morning.
You guys watched the game on Thursday? It's a great game. I'm a sports fan, and if you guys know me, every time I sit down and have talk with Mark, it's mostly about Ohio State football and the Chargers losing.
Oh.
And same thing with John, we always talk about the Chargers. But we got to win, so you guys know me, I love sports. And not only American football, but also the Olympics. And what's the last one? Here you go to the next one. The Olympics, right? We just had our Rio Summer Olympics this past summer, and you can see all these amazing athletes from all over the world come in a city and compete for their nation. I didn't get to see any of that, but I did get to see Michael Phelps win how many medals now? Oh my gosh! But not only the competition or the sports or all the medal ceremonies that I like, I also like the opening and closing ceremonies, because it's a unique event in the world, because you have all these people groups who represent their nation come all together, and you see fireworks going and music is playing and people are dancing and cheering. And you got all these athletes with their national flag just proudly waving into the crowd, right? I love watching that. It's amazing. It makes me think of three things. It makes me think that of diversity, because I came from a diverse area, and when I think of diversity, I don't know about you guys, but I think about home, kind of. Because, I grew up in City Heights, Stephanie area, and it's known for just being the most diverse area in San Diego. I went to a high school, Crawford High School, on my first year, freshman year. And I don't know about your time, Paula, but my time, it was pretty diverse. And it was so diverse that it was known as one of the more diverse high schools in all of Southern California. And I have Somalian friends, Vietnamese friends, Thai friends, not a lot of white friends, I'm sorry.
Or your white friends.
But I grew up in that melting pot, and diversity is home to me. And it's weird when I go to an all Asian church or an all black church, whatever church. And Cornerstone is significant, and we are a diverse, just bunch of Christians, and I love it.
Amen.
Another thing that I think about when I think about diversity is God's creation. So I'm about to leave.
Oh.
And I'm sorry that this is not an autumn leaf. I tried to look for an autumn leaf this morning. I didn't have any good luck with it because
Southern California.
We live in San Diego, so this is the best I can do, guys. I guarantee you, if we were to scout and look for another leaf that is exactly like this, to the size, to the color, to the cellular structure, we all know we can't find one.
That's right.
Because all these are different. And not only these, but consider the stars too. We have billions of stars, and I just read the other day, they found like, I don't know, 3 times the amount of galaxies that we know. And just to think that a cluster of stars are in one galaxy, but to know that there are billions more, just blows your mind. And just to think that one star is not the same from the other I've ever seen. If you consider every blade of grass that you see, they're not the same. If you consider how rain falls, we don't get to see that a lot, but if we do, how rain falls and how it doesn't fall in a exact pattern, but it falls sporadically on the pavement, right? If you consider the formation of a rock, if you look at it on face value, if you examine it really close, it's not a line of polka dots or a line of squares, it's sporadic. And you see that in all created this creation. That's God's creation. He's a diverse God. And not only did I think when it comes to diversity, I think about his creation, but I think about home, our home, in heaven. And just think that one day we'll be in front of the throne, and every nation, every tribe, every language. I mean, just think, just close your eyes and just picture all these people in front of their Creator, singing, "How great is our God." But yeah, that's the desire of our hearts. When you consider all this, I believe His kingdom is going to reflect the same, except He's going to restore it by not making, as far as Pastor Mark says, all new things. I mean, is that right? Yeah, all new things, but making all things new. So the main passage I just want to speak to you guys about is, next slide, is in Matthew 16. And you guys want to turn to that section of the book, we'll just dive right into it. I want to make this fast, so the good part is you guys. So, Matthew 16. So, in the context, Jesus was with his disciples, and they just witnessed a number of miracles that he just performed, from the 5 loaves and 2 fish and healing the blind. And then they traveled up several miles north from the Sea of Galilee, and they enter an area called Caesarea Philippi. If you know anything about this area, you'll know that it's heavily influenced by Greek and Roman culture, and there's a lot of paganistic worship and idols pretty much everywhere. And this is significant because this is the place where Jesus chose, which we're going to see when we dive into this passage. A very hedonistic area, Matthew 16. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say the Son of God is? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But what do you say? But what about you? He asked. Who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, Son of the living God. This is awesome. Jesus replied, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah. For this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my heavenly Father. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. So there he was, right? Jesus with his disciples, and he chose an area where it is not Jerusalem, the holy city. It's not the most friendliest place where his disciples knew his surroundings, but a hedonistic, paganistic, idol-worshiping area. And commencing the church, right? He asked his disciples, "Who do you say I am?" And he gave all these names. And then he goes, "Who do you say I am?" And Peter, being Peter, says, "You are the Son of God." And Jesus' response is pretty much how Jesus would respond. And he appointed Peter, him, the rock. Significant passage. When I was first introduced to this passage, I used to think, reading the last part, God would protect his city, his church, or his group. Because if you go back to the slide, the next one. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. When I was first introduced to this, I was ignorant at the time, and I was a new believer, and I would think the way of, God was trying to protect his group with the gates, and it's, keeping from the devil activity from coming into the church. But that wasn't the case. But then God showed another side. Oh, sorry. Let me go to the next slide. There was a famous famous missionary in the 1900s. He was from Canada, and he did a lot of missions work in Toronto. And he had this to say: "We talk of the second coming. Half the world has never heard of it first." Because I would sit on this, and this would come into my mind pretty sporadically every time I would read or get into my devotion. We just pray. I feel this statement is also relevant to this church, to today's church, especially having this election year. We're scared to death, right, as American Christians, to know that so-and-so is might have a chance to take an office. And the first thing that comes into our mind is what? It's the second coming, right?
Yeah.
Because even stuff like, if bad things happen to us, we cry out, we yearn about the second coming. And that's good. Yeah. That's great. Because Paul says to consider heavenly ground and to fix our eyes at the end. That's awesome. But we cannot neglect his first coming. Half the world has never heard of it first. And it makes me think about the 1040 window. You go to the next slide. Some of you guys are pretty familiar with this term, some of you guys are not. But the 1040 window is basically an area of the world, 1040 referring to 10 degrees and 40 degrees north of the equator. And it was coined by a Christian missionary strategist in the 1900s also, by the name of Louis Birch. And in this section, there are 69 plus nations holding 40% of the world's population. 40%.
Wow.
82 of those nations, 82% of them are the poorest of the poor. It also holds the three major religions: Buddhism, Muslim, and Hinduism. And 45 out of 50 of those nations are the most persecuted nations. So if you were to live in this area of the world, you will most likely be persecuted because of your faith. But we see that we live in interesting times, and we hear about the underground Chinese church where it's spreading like a wildfire. It's in this area, and I believe it's because of persecution and the fact that God sometimes He uses persecution to spread His church. But still, there's a big need in this area, and missions exist because worship doesn't. Missions exist because worship doesn't. Interestingly, passage, maybe back to Matthew 16. If you look at what Jesus' response was, He doesn't just say gates. He says, he doesn't just say hell. He says the gates of hell. When we think of gates, we think of a defense mechanism, right? A stronghold. It's the purpose of the gate is to keep things from like outside coming in. It doesn't attack. It's not a weapon. But Christ used the gates of hell instead of hell. And He say that just to expose the fact that hell itself indeed is powerless compared to what's coming to His disciples.
Amen.
It is to bring the church in and flood it, and even the gates of hell cannot withstand it. God doesn't build barriers for His church. He builds bridges so the good news can flood in. Let's go to the next slide. In Romans 10, it says, "How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news." And you can't see the background. It's an athlete with no shoes, and he just finished the race. How beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. You guys, I've been a Christian more than half my life now. I just realized that on Tuesday night, and Mark addressed that to me. And I've learned this stuff already. I know I've heard it a million times because from my old church, we were big on missions. My pastor, he was huge on missions, and he would introduce these in my mind. And our former worship leader, he's now a missionary, a full-time missionary in Laos, and my greatest mentor that I ever had, she's now a missionary in Cambodia. And so missions isn't foreign to me, it's not new to me, but it is sync with me. I didn't get it. In all honesty, I learned how to live like Jesus. I learned how to love like Jesus. But as far as leading people to Jesus, it's too much. It's too much. I don't want that responsibility, and it's not my responsibility to begin with. So in closing, and before they came up, I just want to share also Psalm 67. In my prayer life, I always pray for the benefit of me and the benefit of others, right? I mean, let's face it. That's how we also close, But it's never what benefits His kingdom. And may God be gracious to us and bless us and make His face shine upon us, so that your ways may be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. May the peoples praise you. May all the peoples praise you. May the nations be glad and sing for joy, for you rule the peoples with equity and guide the nations of the earth. May the peoples praise you. May all the peoples praise you. The land will yield its harvest. God, our God, blesses us. May God bless us still, so that all the ends of your will here. You guys, that's the cry of our hearts. I mean, David got that. He understood. I mean, when you think of David's life, you think of the Philistines and all these nations around him are attacking him. And here he proclaims, God, make me know you. So that's the cry of our hearts. Isn't that the cry of your hearts this morning?
Amen.
So this favor that was easily dismissed from me has become a desire. This calling that once easily cast away has become the cry of my heart. God expose your heart to us.
Yes.
God, we want our heartbeat to be your heartbeat. To be just broken. Because we know that your heart breaks for the disenfranchised, the forgotten, the fatherless, poor. God, let us let that be our anthem of our hearts as we continue to worship this morning. I pray for the Burmese as they come to the floor, and that you will anoint them. And may we be inspired and encouraged by what they have to say. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Tito.